Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be looking at the tips for round 11 and we're just going to jump straight into it. So continuing on from last week, this is Doug Dinkle's round. I know it seems strange, but it goes for 2 weeks, so yeah. First up on Thursday, which is tonight. I'm sorry about the lateness of the video, but I had a big one last night, so yeah, we got the Bulldogs versus the Swans, and this is at Marvel Stadium. Now, I am pretty confident that Sydney will get the job done here, but the Bulldogs are very good at Marvel Stadium. They've played some pretty good football there, and they're very unpredictable. They have the manpower to get this done, but Sydney are just they're in premiership winning form right now, so I would say that probably Sydney will win this game. It might be a close one, but yeah, I'll safe bet is to go for Sydney. On the Friday, we got Fremantle versus Collingwood. Now, this is going to be a tough game for Collingwood because of all the injuries they've got. Jordan De Goey's back out. This betting is closer than it should be. Fremantle, on the other hand, they've lifted their game. They are the #1 team at going forward with handballs. Collingwood can shut that down, but last week Collingwood had the highest pressure rating for the year in the first half, and then in the fourth quarter they had one of the lowest pressure ratings. So they're getting tired at the end of the game, and that really brought Adelaide back into the match. So this will be difficult. Obviously, I'm a Collingwood supporter, so I'm going to tip Collingwood, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very, very good game and Fremantle get up. So I'll tip Collingwood, but yeah, take note that Fremantle at home will be quite strong. Alright, just jumping straight back into it. Had to cut that out. So yeah, I think Collingwood here, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very entertaining game. Yeah, Fremantle in with a big chance. Collingwood are very vulnerable right now. Next, we move on to Saturday, and we've got North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide at Blundstone Arena. This is odd. I would say that Port will win this game, but they're slipping a bit. Look, they let Hawthorn in last week, and they gave them a real run for their money. They were so lucky to get over the line. Well, it took a lot of skill to do what they did, but still, I mean, yeah. North, you know, they can only play half a game of footy, so I guess this is pretty easy. But Blundstone Arena, North will have the advantage there because it's windy conditions. That's just how Hobart is. That's why you need a stadium with a roof over it down there, but they don't have one yet. So I think Port will win this game. They're just a better team, and they don't have too many injuries, whereas North just don't have the player stock to be able to compete with Port. Port are really good at beating up lower teams. I know last week was an exception, Hawthorn, but in Hawthorn's defence, they are a really good team now. Their process is starting to work, and they're starting to get things together and actually perform well. Whereas North Melbourne, they're so far off that it's not funny. Next up, we have Carlton versus the Suns. Now, Marvel Stadium, Suns have not won away from home. Oh, they won up in Darwin. So yes, they've won one game away from home this year. That was in Darwin. But they have lost every other game. But they've won every game at home. So this is one of those games where if the Suns were able to play the way they do at home, they would win this game. Because Carlton are just... I don't know where they are. They're falling off the cliff, and they got a bunch of cement strapped to their feet. You know, like it's an odd game. I mean, I'll tip Carlton just because they're a good team when they get going. And at Marvel Stadium, I just think they'll beat the Suns. Suns they haven't proven themselves to win away from home. If this was at Gold Coast home stadium, I can't remember what it's called on the Gold Coast, I would tip the Suns here. That's how bad they play away from home. Yeah, and obviously that's not a big enough bet to tip them. Yeah. So Carlton will probably get the job done there. This will be an interesting game. The reason being, both of these teams are on a massive losing streak. They went from being 1-2 on the ladder to now they're struggling to hold on to the top 8 spot. I don't know if Geelong, GMHB Stadium, GWS Giants. This is the toughest one of the round, I think, other than the Collingwood game. It probably won't be the most entertaining game of the round, but it's going to be a difficult one to tip because, yeah, the Giants, I don't know if they're just having problems getting their running game going, and they lost a great midfielder last weekend, and that's going to hurt them. Whereas Geelong have their own injury concerns. They're out of form. They still managed to kick 100 points last week against Gold Coast, which is impressive, and but they lost by 64 points, so they gave up a lot of their defensive structure to do that. It's just tough. I think the safe bet is just Geelong Cats at home, but yeah. More games on Saturday. Richmond versus Essendon, and well, Essendon are obviously going to win this game. I'll put it that way. Richmond are they're crap. That should be 10-50. They're absolutely horrible. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any surprises here. Essendon are just a better team. They've got a injury concern with one of their half-back flankers, but even without that, they'll be right. They've got enough stock to get this done, so that's pretty much a no-brainer there. Okay, moving on to Sunday. Now, Hawks versus Brisbane Lions at Marvel Stadium. The Brisbane Lions haven't proven themselves this year. They've beaten up really bad teams, and the Hawks, they're proving themselves against some really quality teams. And you know what? I think this is one of those games where it's just going to be an upset, a massive upset. So I'm actually tipping this upset. Even though it's 13 versus 15th, that's misleading. Brisbane are a better team than that. They just haven't. There's something going wrong there that is. I don't know whether they had a bad preseason or something like that. They're just off. And Hawks aren't. It's clicking. Everything's clicking. The coach is getting what he wants out of them. They lost last week by 1 point or something like that, and that was unfortunate. But against a good quality side in Port Adelaide, Marvel Stadium at home. Oh, not really at home. This is the MCG is home, but yeah, I reckon there's an upset brewing here. Yeah. Second last game of the round. Melbourne versus St Kilda. I don't think St Kilda are very good anymore. Melbourne will win this game. Their coach will be pissed off about what happened last week. He'll demand more and he'll get more. Their forward structure will actually do very well against St Kilda, which is not usually the case. Melbourne have a really hard time getting their forwards to do anything. And also their midfield. St Kilda has a good midfield, but they don't scream good midfielders, you know. Whereas Melbourne, they scream good midfielders that are out of form. So I think this will push some of their midfielders into form for Melbourne, and they'll win this game comfortably, I think. So yeah, that's my bet there. And yeah, last game of the round, Adelaide versus West Coast Eagles. Adelaide Oval. Yeah, I think I'll go Adelaide. Adelaide will be filthy about what happened last week and the week before. They've only gotten 2 points in the last 2 weeks. The draw and then the narrow loss. West Coast are in good form too, don't get me wrong, they're a good side, but I think they're more of a side that they play better at home, and because they're still learning and they're developing, just playing in Adelaide's just going to be too much for them, and then Adelaide will be able to just walk away from this game pretty confidently. It might be 30 points, it might be 10, but Adelaide will win. Yeah, Adelaide do have a bad record of close games, so if this is a close game, Adelaide will need to figure that out. I think they're 2 from 12 when it comes to close games in the last 3 years or something like that. So, but I don't think West Coast will get that close. So yeah, Adelaide will win this game, and I wouldn't tip against Adelaide here. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the video. We did pretty good last week. We got 6 out of 9, although 2 of those were gimmies. Yeah, let's see if we can do better this weekend. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let us know how you're going. And as always, be good to your mother, and I'll see you next time. Peace.